Smile. This is the second album from the Radiohead side project, The Smile, comprising of Tom York, Jonny Greenwood, and Tom Skinner from Sons of Kemet. This is an 8-track album, runs about 50 minutes, I believe, kind of forgot. And it is wonderful. I give it a 10 out of 10 if you do not want to watch the whole review. Although I'm going to keep this one a bit short. I did not keep it a bit short. 12 minutes. It's just fantastic. I love it to death. First off, the quality of this sleeve here. Just take a look at this. You can see how the light reflects the text. See that? See? Watch the See that? That's pretty cool, right? And you can feel how it does that too. Because when you feel the artwork, it feels different. And then when you get to the lettering, you can feel how it's different from the actual artwork. Now, unlike some vinyls, this artwork looks like it was painted right here. This is like I'm holding the canvas that this was painted on. This is absolutely immaculate. I love it. Now, what's inside? Ooh, look at this! What? It's so pretty. My only issue though is that, like, look at this. Look at this tree right here. Look at this mountain. You know, it's not in the middle. Here's a cool blue vinyl. Isn't this just wonderful? And I, of course, have it in my cool sleeve from Big Fudge. It's non-scratching, acid-free. It's pretty nifty. And here's the art on the sleeve itself. Now the sleeve itself isn't not your best quality sleeve, just a paper sleeve. But it's pretty cool. And the back has all the lyrics, except for this. This isn't lyrics. I'm asking for help. I'm outside your door. Makes no sense. Like, you're out. Like, okay, so you're outside my house. So do I live in a door? Like, whatever. But yeah, it just goes on. It's I am. It's. I don't know, man. I don't know what that means, but it's cool. Let's go track by track. Beginning with Wall of Eyes. This is the opening track, title track. It's the first one. It runs about 5 minutes, and it's a beginning. It's a great beginning. It's a wonderful beginning, I must say. It is fantastic. It's acoustic, and the way the percussion works in that song, it's instead of it being like a, it's more like it's like a lightning strike. Happens a lot. It's mind-blowing. It's cool. It's like revolutionary, you know? Very average Tom York project, you know? Second song is To the Harmonic. People are saying it's like the prettiest song, but I don't really agree. A different song, I believe, is the prettiest one. This one is pretty good. That's about it, though. The lyrics aren't that special. Like, I like when Tom says, "Where are you taking me?" That's cool. It's interesting. It's weird. Like, a lot of, like, some reviewers are like, well, there isn't too much lyrical depth. The way I find depth in this album is just through the strange lyrics. Because these aren't, like, your everyday lyrics. They're interesting. Like, they make you think, like, what was he going for here? So you make your own realities for all these songs. It makes it a lot better. And if you can't tell, I am a humongous fan of this album. Third song is Read the Room. It's just another 5-minute track. Pretty much every one on here is either 5 minutes or above, except for the fifth one, Friend of a Friend. Read the Room is an interesting one. When I first heard it, I was like, what? It's just guitar line. And then it grew on me pretty quickly. But this begins one of my biggest issues with this album, is that you hear just some great stuff. Like the bridge after the second verse, second chorus where it's first chorus, yeah, after the first chorus, where it's like, what on earth, come on, honey, read the room. That, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And then it just like stops. And then we get 2 minutes of just, come on out. Which is cool the first few times, because like we know we're in, we know you're in there. Come on out. Everybody thinks so. Those are only 3 lines in those 2 minutes. It's cool the first few times, but it gets a bit dull. Speaking of dull, Under Our Pillows, Thin Thing, remastered pretty much. So Thin Thing is one of the hits from Smile's first album, A Life for Attracting Attention. And I mean, it's pretty good. It's easily my favorite song off that album. But Under Our Pillows is similar to it in the riff, I believe. But that riff lasts for like 2 minutes and then it's gone. So the first 2 minutes of the song are so good. Just try to convert me. I'm like, oh, it's so good. I'm like dying, bro. I'm begging on my knees, dude. Sick. I bet. It's fantastic. I love it. But then we get the Major League make-believe, and then it just goes to 3 minutes of just kind of nothing. But then it ends, and it builds, and it builds, and it builds, and it builds, and then it just climaxes, and then it ends. And then the side switches to side 2, as with Friend of a Friend. This is one of the problems with the vinyl, in my opinion. I feel like the first side should have been 3 tracks, fourth side, and the second side should have been 5. But that might be impossible because of Bending Hectic. You'll see soon. Under Our Pillows builds into Friend of a Friend, which is the first song of side 2, which is also the shortest song. It's also, I think, the most accessible track on the album. It's got the clearest verse, chorus, bridge, end. I think it used to be my favorite one, but the more I listen to the album, the more I grow to like other tracks, like the 6th one, I Quit. I Quit is a 5-minute song that feels like 18 minutes the first time you listen to it, but then by the end, you're like, oh, this is wonderful. Like, the strings in that song are very standard for Thom Yorke projects these days. Like, A Moon-Shaped Pool, A Life for Attracting Attention, they all have a lot of strings in them. This I Quit, no different. But it shows you a new kind of string, a string section that builds tension, doesn't flow like other ones. I'm not saying that you don't see that often in Radiohead music or the first album. Although you kind of don't see it too often, I guess. But here I feel like that tension that gets built, it gets let go at the end of the song, but then it gets rebuilt in the 7th song, Bending Hectic. This is actually the first song that The Smile ever played back in 2022, I believe. And it is splendid. Its song's 8 minutes long, and for the first 6 minutes, you're like, this is just Johnny tuning his guitar. But then he says, I'm letting go of the wheel, and then the strings just, they come in, and it's making us the worst chord in the world, and you're like, oh God, what's happening, oh God, no! And then, boom, despite these things, and I'm on my knees again. No wonder it's one of the most popular songs on the album. But it kind of loses its spunk the first time, because, like I said, it is 6 minutes of, nothingness, so, yeah. The last song is You Know Me, which I believe has easily the best piano, I think, of any Smile song. It's tied with Panavision, but I love the piano on You Know Me. I think it's absolutely wonderful. Although that song is a bit forgettable, but I do think it is the prettiest song on the album still. But there's one major issue plaguing this album. It's forgettable. a lot of people have already forgotten about this album. Like, it's because it's 8 tracks and they're all 5 minutes, so not many people really want to come back to this kind of album. Now, I would, and I have been coming back to this album many, many times. But it just kind of, it isn't really something that you just haven't seen before. It isn't the most revolutionary project in the world. It doesn't do very many creative things. I feel like it's good. I give it a 10, like I said at the start. But it's kind of, I'm thinking, like, is it really just like a 9.9? Like, 'cause it's wonderful. It's produced amazing. Everything is great, and I love listening to it. I feel like there's no part where I'm like bored, except for maybe like Benny Hectic. But that's still a maybe. So it's like, where do I draw the line of a 10 for an album like this? Because it is a bit forgettable. Under Our Pillows, that 3-minute instrumental is a bit forgettable. Teleharmonic, it's a bit forgettable. Wall of Eyes, Tom can't just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3 minutes and maybe think I'm gonna love the song to death. It's good, it's great, but it's not for most people. It's not worth coming back to. You know, that's the biggest issue with this album, is that there's just nothing for most people that's worth returning to. I feel like, because my original review was like a 76 for this album, I feel like as I've been listening to it, each individual song has been growing on me more and more and more. So the more I listen to the album, the more I get more cool ideas. I'm like, oh, the song is great. The song is a lot better than I thought it was. Like, at first I hated You Know Me, but then I was like, oh, the song's so pretty. The piano is wonderful. The lyrics, they're weird. They're interesting. They're unique to anything that we got in Radiohead, because Radiohead has a very defined idea for every single song, and yet The Smile does not. And that's either your biggest issue or it's your biggest enjoyment of the band. For me, it's the best part of the band, and this album is a 10. Thanks for watching today, guys. See you later.